I'm JJ Virgin, PhD dropout, sorry mom, turned 4-time New York Times bestselling author. Yes, I'm a certified nutrition specialist, fitness Hall of Famer, and I speak at health conferences and trainings around the globe. But I'm driven by my insatiable curiosity and love of science to keep asking questions, digging for answers, and sharing the information I uncover with as many people as I can. And that's why I created the Well Beyond 40 podcast, to synthesize and simplify the science of health into actionable strategies to help you thrive. In each episode, we'll talk about what's working in the world of wellness, from personalized nutrition and healing your metabolism to healthy aging and prescriptive fitness. Join me on the journey to better health so you can love how you look and feel right now and have the energy to play full out at 100. How did you get those arms? So I get asked this all the time, and you may be surprised to learn that it's actually not that hard to get ripped, lean, toned arms. It's actually the easiest body part to transform if you follow the strategies I'm going to share in this video. Now, there are 3 parts to building great arms, and the last one is super critical, and I find it's usually the one that gets ignored. So first, obviously, you have to work them. The thing that's critical for hypertrophy, building muscle, is volume. In order for you to build muscle, we've got to look at a couple different things. We need to look at the exercises you're going to do, the sets of those exercises, the reps within these sets, and how much per week. That's a lot to unpack. First of all, you have an exercise, like let's call it a push-up, and you are going to do a set of push-ups. A set is how many times you do it. That's your repetitions. And then you're going to do multiple times a week. And we're going to divide it into upper body pushing and upper body pulling. I want you to do that at least twice a week, but ideally it's going to be better off if you do them 3 times a week. Now, your repetitions, let's talk about that first. You can actually work within a pretty broad range of repetitions to build muscle, anywhere from as low as 6 repetitions per set, all the way up to 30 repetitions per set. So it's really where you feel more comfortable, but there is something important here. You have to get to a point at the end of the set where you feel like you could maybe only squeeze out 1 or 2 more. Again, you're going to want to hit each body part, the pushing and the pulling, minimum 2 times a week, ideally 3 times a week, and with a good rest break in between. So when you're looking at building these great arms, now might surprise you, I'm going to focus on compound movements first rather than just my arms. So I focus on upper body pushing and upper body pulling. When I think of upper body pushing, this is going to involve my chest, my shoulders, and my triceps. And these are exercises like a push-up or a chest press, that's chest, shoulders, triceps, an overhead press, and a dip. So the reason I focus on compound rather than single, like just doing a tricep extension, is that I've got to pull in a lot more muscles. And the cool thing is, I'm still using my triceps. Anytime I'm pushing, my triceps are involved. But if I'm just doing, say, a triceps push down, I'm only really crossing the elbow joint. If I'm doing a dip, I'm crossing the elbow and the shoulder blades, the scapula. So I'm using a lot more joints. So I try to do compound movements because they're way more metabolically costly and they will still work my arms. That's the first piece. Now, when I think of upper body pushing, I'm going to have you start with these things. I want you to do some kind of a chest-focused exercise. So again, that could be a push-up, chest press. Then I want you to do some kind of a shoulder-focused exercise. Easiest one there is an overhead press. And then I love dips. Those are more tricep-centric. On the other side, we're going to look at upper body pulling. Anytime you're pulling, you're going to involve your bicep. But when I'm doing pulling, I'm also using my lats, shoulders, and the back of my shoulders. So I'll start with something like a lat pull down or a pull up, bent over row, or a seated cable row, and maybe an upright row. So that's the first part, is making sure that you're working them, focusing on those compound movements, and making sure that you have that volume in place, that you're doing multiple sets of each exercise, and you're getting to that point where you've got 1 or 2 more that you can eke out, but you're really starting to feel fatigued. The next thing you have to do is make sure that you can feed those muscles. You have to have the right fuel on board. This is really twofold. Number one, obviously, is protein. And I've got a protein cheat sheet for you at jjvirgin.com/protein cheat sheet. But basically, you're going to eat 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of target body weight of protein. And that's about 30 grams to 40 grams at each meal minimum. 30 grams animal, 40 grams plant, 100 grams overall. That's minimum. But we want that 30 to 40 grams because we want to have enough of an amino acid called leucine to trigger muscle protein synthesis. Remember, as we age, we have a phenomenon called anabolic resistance that starts to hit, where it's harder for us to build muscle. We need more protein, not less, to be able to have that trigger. And so when we're younger, a lot of what we can do with building muscle is hormonal. 30 plus, not so anymore. We've got to make sure that we've got the protein that we need on board along with that resistance training. A little hack is also taking some essential amino acids. And there's some pretty interesting research around essential amino acids helping with sarcopenia as we age. So I think this is a great thing to add in if you're not quite hitting your protein needs at breakfast or dinner as well. A couple other things I like to do. I especially love fish protein, but I also think fish oil can be something important to add into. It's anti-inflammatory, which is really important because if you're inflamed, you actually can block muscle protein synthesis. And fish oil helps with insulin sensitivity. And again, the things that can get in the way of you building muscle are being insulin resistant and inflamed. Another thing that I think is super important, especially for women, is taking creatine. I think there's a lot of misinformation around creatine out there. So if you are concerned about creatine and fluid retention in the muscle, which is good, and if you're using a bioimpedance machine to monitor your body composition, you'll actually see this as increased total body water and increased muscle. What you can do is, instead of just going straight up to taking 5 grams of creatine a day, start with 1 gram and just bring it up every couple days until you get to 3 to 5 grams overall. The big thing that's going to help you do is work out harder. And if you can work out harder, then it's going to improve the quality of your workouts, which is going to help you build muscle. The other one that I take every day is something called MitoPure. So one of the things that happens as we age is our mitochondria. We are constantly in a state of breaking down and building up. You go to the gym, you break down a little bit, then your muscle has to go through muscle protein synthesis and build back up, and we're constantly breaking down and building up. We just want to make sure we're building up more than we're breaking down. The cool thing is there's a product called MitoPure. It's urolithin A. This is something that you take. I take it every day. It helps your mitochondria repair and regenerate better. And then the other part of it is you have to be able to show them. And that means you got to get rid of any fat covering them, right? You got to get lean. Now, what do you need to do to drop your body fat? Well, there's 2 things that matter here. One of them is caloric restriction. Caloric restriction, what I like to have you do to get yourself lean, to get your body fat down, is number 1, just take a week and track how much you eat. Don't change anything. Now, I'm already considering that you're already optimizing for protein. You're already doing that. But you're just seeing how many calories you eat each day to maintain your weight. Once you can see that, and you do it over a week because, of course, it'll fluctuate, but you should be able to see an average after you do it for a week of about how many calories you eat a day to maintain your weight. Once you know that number, then you're going to do caloric restriction to lean out a little bit if you want to drop your body fat. And I like to do formula I learned from Dr. Bill Campbell, 5 days of caloric restriction, 25% lower than what you need. So if you're a 2,000 calorie a day average person, go to 1,500 for 5 days, then go back to 2,000 for 2 and cycle that until you get to where you want to be. Alongside that, I want you to also track your overall activity. You can go work out 3 days a week, hit that upper body hard, but if you sit the rest of the time, it's not going to help you. So what we want to make sure is that you've also increased your overall activity. And there's 2 things that are going to help you get lean here. Number 1, just moving more all throughout the day. So that's where you want to get your 8 to 12,000 steps a day in, and high intensity interval training. The research shows that doing high intensity interval training is really good for helping you lose body fat. And so high intensity interval training is where you do cycles. There's a variety of different ways to do this. There's everything from Tabata, where you do 20 seconds all out and 10 seconds recovery, 20 seconds all out, 10 seconds recovery, to a 1 minute on, 1 minute off, Norwegian 4x4, which is 4 hard minutes and 3 minutes of recovery. I like to mix it up. So some days I'll do a Norwegian 4x4 and I'll do 4 minutes of a really hard circuit, and then I'll do 3 minutes of walk around and go back. Some days I'll do 1 minute on my sprint treadmill and then 1 minute walking. Mix it up, but that's going to help your body use more fat for fuel. It's going to help you drop body fat. So we talked about what you need to build them. We talked about what you need to do to feed them. And then we talked about how to drop your body fat so that you will show them, because you got to have your arms lean so you can see that muscle. All those things matter. And by the way, a little hack, a little bit of bronzer helps there too. Be sure to join me next time for more tools, tips, and techniques you can incorporate into everyday life to ensure you look and feel great and are built to last. Check me out on Instagram, Facebook, and my website, jjvirgin.com, and make sure to follow my podcast at subscribetoJJ.com so you don't miss a single episode. And hey, if you're loving what you hear, don't forget to leave a review. Your reviews make a big difference in helping me reach more incredible women just like you to spread the word about aging powerfully after 40. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Hey, JJ here, and just a reminder that the Well Beyond 40 podcast offers health, wellness, fitness, and nutritional information that's designed for educational and entertainment purposes only. You should not rely on this information as a substitute for, nor does it replace professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. If you have any concerns or questions about your health, you should always consult with a physician or other healthcare professional. Make sure that you do not disregard, avoid, or delay obtaining medical or health-related advice from your healthcare professional because of something you may have heard on the show or read in our show notes. The use of any information provided on the show is solely at your own risk.